How do you do with consistency? How do you feel about consistency? Do you feel like consistency is hard, impossible? Do you keep trying something and then you get derailed because you just can't be consistent? In today's video, I want to share with you the way that I approach consistency and that I recommend a lot of my clients do, as it can often help get over that kind of hump of failure where, like, the first time you fall off, the first time you fail at being consistent. Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm the founder and principal therapist of LSM Clinic, a sport and remedial massage therapy clinic in East London. In this channel, I share information about how the body works and muscle care tips like stretches and exercises so that you can live pain-free or as close to it as possible. Now, I actually recently shared this in the Facebook group for bar definition because I'm in that group and a lot of people responded to it, so I wanted to share it here with my YouTube audience as well. Basically, over my lifetime, I have tried lots of different exercises. I have done weightlifting, I've done yoga, I've done Pilates, I've done barre, I've done various exercise classes, I've, played football, I've tried lots of things like rock climbing and horseback riding and just lots of stuff, right? I've done lots of things. And consistency has always been my downfall. I would start something, I'd really enjoy it, I'd do it for a couple of weeks, and then I'd lose interest, or I would get tired of it, or I would do it so much that I would injure myself, I would overdo it, and then I'd have to take time off. And every time I fell down off that consistency streak that I was on, I would just give up. And I would sometimes give up for weeks, or I'd give up for months, or I'd give up the activity altogether and then just not come back to it because I just felt like I can't be consistent with this, so what's the point? And a lot of my clients feel that way about the stretches and exercises that they try to do. For example, I'll tell somebody, try to do glute activation every morning before you go out, like before you leave the house. Do it when you brush your teeth or when you put the kettle on. It just takes 30 seconds. And a lot of times they'll do it for, a few days, and then they forget one morning or they forget for a couple mornings. And then they're kind of like, oh, now I'm out of the habit, so now I'm not going to do it anymore. So the trick or the shift that I bring into my perception or approach to consistency that I'd like to share with you is that consistency can be varied. It's just about continuously coming back to it, right? So if you saw my bar definition review or have seen any of my emails, like I've been talking about it a lot lately. For about a year, I've been doing this exercise app called Bar Definition, and I absolutely love it. And when I started, for the first month, I was super consistent. I was like, every week I was doing 4 or 5 workouts, which is a lot for me because usually I just work out once or twice a week if I'm doing something new. And then after a month, I dropped off. And I went from loving it to just not feeling doing for a week. And then after a week, I started feeling like doing it again. And so then I did it again. And I did it for 2 or 3 weeks. And I noticed that I had this pattern where I would be really gung-ho about it for 2 to 3 weeks. And then I would drop off for 1 week, maybe 2. Maybe it coincided with something going on personally. Maybe it coincided with me being sick. Maybe it coincided with my energy levels and my cycle, but I would just have this drop off. And I realized that that is consistency for me when it comes to this program. I could take a week off and come back, and I have not lost all of my progress. I've kept a lot of it, right? And then I can do a week where I do 4, 5, 6 workouts, right, in that week. And then, in August, I ended up having to take 3 weeks because I was sick for 2 weeks, right? And I was able to do little bits. So what I would like to recommend that you do when you're thinking about consistency is don't think about it as like all or nothing, right? As you're either following whatever program you have every single day without fail, or you're not doing it. Think of consistency as that you are showing up when you can and giving yourself grace when you can't. And sometimes your body's going to need a bit of rest. And sometimes your life is going to be a little bit more stressful. And then when things shift again, you come back to it. And this is especially important for things like exercise and the self-care exercises that we give you, like the stretches. Because I always say anything is better than 0, right? So even if you just do a stretch once a week, that's consistent. You're doing it once a week. If you can do it for 3 days and then you take 3 days off, but you come back to it, you're still giving yourself that input, right? So many people think if I can't do it perfectly, I'm not going to do it. But I would like to encourage you to think of consistency as that you keep trying to come back to it when you can, and you keep giving yourself grace when life gets too busy, or when you get too overwhelmed, or when you get sick, or when you don't have the energy or the bandwidth or the mental capacity. Because consistency is not about doing it every single day perfectly. Consistency is about keeping coming back to it so it becomes a more normal part of your life, but it doesn't have to be every single day perfect. So I would love to know, for you, is there something in your life that you have given up on because you couldn't do it consistently, and now you can take this attitude towards consistency and try to incorporate it in your life again, whether it's a type of exercise that you like, or whether it's a self-care or rehab exercises that you're trying to do? Some days our bodies do just need to rest. There's absolutely nothing wrong with taking a day if that's what you need, or a few days, or a week if you're sick, if you have to recover from something. But I would love to know if there is something that you can shift into your attitude of consistency. Let me know in the comments. If you know anyone who feels like really down on themselves, that they're not able to do something consistently, maybe send them this video so that they can do it. And of course, like there are exceptions to this. Like there are some times where being consistent is really, really important. Like if you're training for a marathon or a specific event and you really need to get that training in to change your body. But for the most part, especially with muscle care, self-care exercises, if you can do it like 3 days out of 5, 3 days out of 7, every other day, every 2 to 3 days, just doing it regularly is going to give you a change in your body, even if it's not like always every day consistent. Even if you do it for 3 weeks and then you drop off for a week. Even if you're really good for 2 weeks and then you do it like half-ass for a week, and then you don't do it at all for a week, and then you do it half-ass for a week, it's still that coming back. So I hope this makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.